Thank you. Well, many foods actually contain fructose, whether it's natural or used as a sweetener, and that can make it even more challenging for people who need to avoid it for health reasons. And joining us right now to talk more about it is registered dietitian, the diet diva herself, Tara Collingwood. Hi, Tara. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. It's crazy, right? If you're a label reader, which I know you are, and you know, I try to read the labels as much as possible. Fructose is in everything.
It is. So let's talk about what fructose is. So fructose is fruit sugar, if you want to think of it that way. You know, you've heard of lactose, which is the natural sugar naturally occurring in milk. Well, fructose is in fruit, but it's not only in fruit. And you've probably heard of high fructose corn syrup as well. So fructose is actually part of other sugars. So, for example, table sugar is sucrose. Sucrose is actually half fructose and half glucose. So I hope I'm not confusing you, but all of these oses are different kinds of sugar. So this is a very rare, when I heard about this story, I was like, wow, this is a very rare condition where someone doesn't break down fructose. We hear about lactose intolerance all the time, but fructose is very rare.
So why, Tara, would it be in baby formula in the first place?
Well, because it has to, you know, have a certain sweetness in order to be tolerated, just like milk has natural lactose in it. So when baby was on mom's milk, that wasn't a problem because it didn't have the fructose in it. But once you switch over to a formula, they probably use some kind of either, maybe not high fructose corn syrup, but some kind of like a sucrose or mix of different sugars that then had some fructose in it.
So are there alternatives that are safer? I mean, obviously, this is something that we haven't heard a lot about. We know a lot, like, as you mentioned, we know a lot about this lactose intolerance, but we don't know a lot about fructose intolerance. So is this really something that the industry, the food industry, is going to have to step up and find alternatives?
I mean, right now, this is such a rare genetic disorder that I don't think we're going to see a lot of this. But for this particular family, of course, it was critical. So, you know, until it becomes a little bit more common, I don't think we're going to see, you know, fructose-free infant formulas very often. But, you know, for this child, we'll have to see if they outgrow it. You know, because fructose is pretty much in a lot of fruit. And what happens is certain fruit has higher levels of fructose to glucose ratio. So for example, some of the stone fruits or berries have a little bit less fructose. So maybe this child, as they become older, will be able to have certain fruits, but not some of the higher fructose fruits. So, I mean, that would be horrible to not be able to eat fruit your whole life.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, and Cindy was just telling me off camera, which makes it even more crazy for this poor family, is that this particular brand that they were buying that doesn't have the fructose, well, they discontinued that particular formula. So now they're having to go to all these stores and, you know, dig through the shelves to find the old, so they just can get the baby through until he, you know, moves to regular milk. But isn't that just nuts? Can you imagine?
It is. No, I can't. And again, because this is so rare, which is why they're having such a hard time finding it.
Yeah, it's sad to see, but thankfully he's okay and they caught it and they figured out what it was. So Tara Collingwood, always a pleasure. We love you. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too.